As a small business owner, it's important to align yourself with organizations who support you and your growth. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, you'll want to stay tuned as we talk to a Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business New Hampshire representative and one of their clients on how their education program helped her business and how it can help yours too. Welcome to the Making Money Personal podcast.
You're listening to Triangle's Making Money Personal podcast, where we engage in real talk about financial matters that affect our community. Today's episode is sponsored by Triangle Credit Union, recently voted Best Credit Union in New Hampshire.
So with us today is Tracy Gillick. She's the outreach specialist for Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, and Dina Akel, program scholar and owner of Vieira Luxe designer dress outlet. Welcome to the show, ladies. It's so nice to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. So before we jump into some of our more technical questions about the program and stuff like that, why don't we just talk a little bit about yourselves and what you do?
Hi. My former life, I worked in nonprofits. So I've been in senior leadership for over 30 years in the nonprofit sector. I recently had a birth of my first grandchild, and I decided that I was going to semi-retire. So I watch her, and I do this job as well.
Nice. Well, congratulations on your granddaughter. That's huge. That's huge. I am not a grandparent yet, but I have heard that it's so much fun. Like my mother said, it's so much fun. I really would have preferred to have my grandchildren first. I don't know if that's how you feel.
Oh, it's absolutely true. Absolutely. They're fun. They're, and it's no responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how old is your grandchild now?
She's 7 months old.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so nice.
So she was born right as I started this job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how often do you watch her?
I watch her 2 full days.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. And then you mix this in too.
Yeah. So I get to be with children and I get to be with adults.
That's perfect.
So I get some stimulating conversation.
I love that. That's awesome. So Dina, what about you?
So I have been in the bridal industry for about 8 years now. I started out in Boston, Massachusetts, and did all my training there, managed the shop. And after a while, my boss was like, I don't know how much more we can have you do because you know everything, but we'd love to support you in your next venture.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what, we're going to do this because I've been thinking about it for a long time, but never pulled the trigger. And then started the business in February of 2020, not knowing what's going to happen.
That's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. And I started online, so it wasn't that bad. And then eventually decided to open up my brick and mortar here in Nashua in 2021. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations on
Thank
that move too. That's huge. I mean, you've gone through a lot, starting the business in 2020. That is rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I mean, a lot of us were furloughed at that time, so it was like, well, I guess I have time to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So do you live in New Hampshire?
I live in New Hampshire. I live here in Nashua. Yeah.
All right. And were you making the commute down to Boston all those years?
No, my husband and I were living in Quincy, Mass at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my family's here in Nashua, so we were just
Nice.
like, let's move up here.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's been good so far then. New Hampshire's
Yes.
been good to you? That's
It
awesome.
has.
Good. Good.
Thank you, New Hampshire.
Oh, that's great. Well, it is a pleasure to have you both with us today. So we'll jump into a little bit about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. So Trace, why don't you explain a little bit about what the program is and what the mission is?
Sure. Okay. So the program started after the bank bailouts. Goldman Sachs paid back their money, and they wanted to do something for the community. So the foundation started the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. Currently, and they were going to do that in 10 years. Currently, we're at over 13,000 businesses, and they've committed to another 10 years. Okay. So the program's designed to facilitate the growth of a business, a small business, and develop the business owner as a leader. And they do this by working with experienced faculty as well as a business advisor. So every scholar that comes through the program is assigned a business advisor that they work one-on-one with weekly. And the focus is to take time working on your business, not in your business. So finding that other person that you can depend on, or other people that you can depend on while you're away working on growing your business.
Awesome. That's excellent. So do you work together? Tracy and Dina, do you work together have you worked together in the past, or you just know Dina because of the program?
I just know Dina because of the program.
Okay.
So the difference between our program and other programs is ours is a no-cost program. So it's all paid for by the foundation. So people come in, they'll apply, they'll be invited to interview. Once they're invited to interview, they need to provide a lot of documents, financial statements, balance sheet, profit and loss statements, their tax return, and then they go through an interview process, and if they're accepted, Goldman Sachs pays for the whole tuition, and that includes this is a hybrid model, so we do the first week and the last week in person. So we pay for their lodging and all their meals, as well as the staff.
So it sounds like they have to travel. Are they traveling to like Goldman Sachs headquarters, like in New York, or is that where it takes place?
So they travel. These this isn't a statewide, nationwide program, and the only one in New Hampshire is at Manchester Community College. So they'll anybody from the state will go to Manchester Community College for the first week. It's 2.5 day, well, 2 half days and 1 full day.
Great.
And then at the end of the program, they'll also go to Manchester Community College. The rest is via Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, like, when you apply, is there a sweet spot for a business? Like, sounds like it's probably dedicated more to small businesses than more medium, larger, well-established businesses in the area?
We have people from all over who've just started their business. We have $10 million businesses. So it runs the gamut. It's a small business is 500 or less employees.
Wow.
And it depends.
I did not know that.
It depends who, who's providing the definition, but that's, what a small business is. So, and it's even people that have been in business. We have a gentleman who's been in business for 35 years.
Wow.
And it's for lifelong learners, people that are interested in making it better, or in some cases it's a person looking to, how do I get out of my business? So I need to
like
set
an
it up.
exit strategy.
Yeah, I need to set it up so that I can turn it over to someone. I can either turn it over to my family, or it's something that I can sell.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
So who did Goldman Sachs, when they were putting this program together, Trace, did they look at a curriculum? Did they develop the curriculum, or did they work with the colleges and schools that are facilitating the program? Is that how it? So
the curriculum is developed by Babson College.
Okay.
Which is the leading one. It's been for the last 25 years, the leading entrepreneurship college, and they update it as things change in the business community. So they're constantly updating it and making it fresh and making it current. And the other thing that's unique about this program is that once a scholar graduates, they have all of their peers that they can depend on. Plus, they have all of the peers that have come before them in New Hampshire as well as nationally.
So that's a strong network.
Right. So they have access to people here locally in New Hampshire, or they have people, somebody in California or in New Orleans, or
wow.
And they can, send out a comment. Does anybody have any experience with this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they use each other peer to peer.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful resource. So if I were a small business, and that blows my mind about anything less than 500 is a small business. If I were an owner, would it be more beneficial for me to attend, or someone on my staff? Like, I guess if you're a leader, you're a leader, right?
Right. So
how do they determine that?
You have to be you have to have some ownership in the organization and the company. Okay. We also do advertise this for nonprofits. Okay. If you're not a majority owner, you have to get a letter of support from the majority owner saying, this is who I'm asking to step in my place.
Okay.
Other than that, like with a nonprofit, they would give a letter of somebody from the board of directors would write a letter of support so that they could attend the program.
Okay, awesome. And do you have to be in business a certain amount of time?
Yes, you have to be in business for two or more years.
Okay.
You have to have 2 employees, and you have to have revenue of $75,000 or more.
Awesome. Great.
And we do run these, and we run one in the fall and one in the spring.
Okay, that's wonderful. And so, and how long did you say it was for? Like, how many weeks?
So it's one is 11, one's 12, and one's 13. The holidays, depending on the holidays. So,
okay.
But in the 1 week actual work is we kind of put it on hold.
Okay.
Or they work on their growth plan.
All right. Great. And it sounds like, do you know in terms of the curriculum, is it module based? Like, are there certain, like dedicated lessons for, managing and then maybe accounting and operations and things like that?
So they spend a lot of time on finances.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there's 3 modules on finances. They work on negotiation, on advocacy, on HR issues.
I'll run the gamut then.
Yeah. So something for everybody. Oh, and marketing.
Okay.
So digital versus, print marketing and, how you can be effective.
Okay. Awesome. Trace, the only other, one thing that you had mentioned is it sounds like there's some paperwork involved. And I mean, it sounds like such a valuable program. Why wouldn't there be some paperwork, some
Right.
qualifying things?
Yep.
And you've already touched on those. Can you go into depth a little bit more in terms of some of the things that, for listeners who might be interested, know that this is what's coming in the event that you do apply?
Sure. So they need to provide 2 years of profit and loss statements and 2 years of balance sheets.
Okay.
They would need to provide the most current, and then depending when it is, the most current year-to-date profit and loss. So like for now, it would be the third quarter.
Okay.
Then they also provide their last tax return that they filed. They need to provide proof of ownership, that the business is in good standing, and a photo.
Really? Okay. Well, that's legit. You are who you are, right? Okay. Good. Awesome. Excellent. That's awesome. So I think what we'll probably do is take a quick break, and we'll hear from our sponsors, and then we're going to talk to Dina, who has actually been a recipient of this program. So stay tuned.
Whether you currently own a small business or are thinking about launching one, we can take your business to the next level. At Triangle Credit Union, we have all the tools you need to help your business grow. We offer an array of deposit products and a variety of lending options, along with merchant and payroll services to simplify your finances. At Triangle Credit Union, serving our community is our business. Visit trianglecu.org for more information.
All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. So we've just heard from Tracy Gillick. She's the outreach specialist for Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And joining us also today is Dina Akel, and she is a program scholar and owner of Vieira Luxe designer dress outlet here in New Hampshire. So, Dina, let's talk a little bit more about this program from a participation perspective. So how did this help your business in terms of the business and you individually as a business owner?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? So one of the big things that we focused on in the program was our growth opportunities. And the growth opportunity could have been something that maybe we were thinking about previously and never implemented, or it was a new idea during the program where it would help us obviously grow, right? Mine was something I thought about a lot. The big thing about Vieira Luxe, we're just a little bit of background. We are primarily bridal, evening wear, prom wear. In October, we'll be opening up a suit shop, and it's going to be inclusive wear. So it'll have a bunch of different types of cuts, gender fluid, men's, women's, etc. And that was part of my growth opportunity. I really wanted to be inclusive, not just in sizing, because that's always an issue in fashion, Like right now we have from 00 all the way to 28 in women's sizing, but we're trying to like reach the 36 mark, which is very difficult to find. But also in terms of style, you know, I don't want to go towards like the classic suits that we're going for. I want to go for like bright silk pinks and yellows and blues, like things that you don't normally find, but also again, like I mentioned before, like gender fluid options. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you can wear anything, right? You just want to feel amazing in it and confident in it. So
especially for big days.
yes. Absolutely. And I mean, weddings in general, they've changed over the years. You know, we went from large weddings to like, you know, a pandemic hit, okay, we're going to do a backyard wedding, still want to look gorgeous and beautiful. But the styles changed too. It went from being super formal to going slightly more casual. And now people are like, I want to wear a white suit for my wedding. Or I want to wear a pant. You know, I just want to wear like a pant with an overskirt or something. Like they're getting super creative. Or a black wedding dress or tie-dye dress. Like it's cool.
Wow. That is pretty cool. I haven't been to any of those weddings, but I'd like to see some pictures.
I'll send you some. But Goldman Sachs, going back to Goldman Sachs, it really helped me hone in on how to create that in my business, because I didn't have a business background. And from someone who never went to business school, I was learning everything by just Googling. But going through a structured program like Goldman Sachs, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting the education I need. I'm connected to other entrepreneurs. Like I'm 3 years in right now. My cohort group had someone who was like 20 years in business. I'm like, there's a lot I can learn from you. You know, and vice versa. Maybe there's like new things happening in social media or something that I'm like, I got you on that. You know?
Yeah, that's wonderful. So a little bit, like, how did you hear about this program?
So I actually joined the Nashua Chamber of Commerce. And there was a lunchbox meeting. They call it the lunchbox meeting. It's like during lunchtime.
Appropriately named then.
And then Chuck Neild actually came to that, and he's part of the program. And he discussed like, hey, any of you entrepreneurs need to, you know, if you need any assistance, here's a great program for you. And as he was talking about it, I was like, yes. Oh, finances? Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely need that. Accounting? Hell yes.
Yes.
You know, so that's how I found out about it. And I spoke to him one-on-one, and he's like, if you really want to be in this program, you know, I'll you know, assist you in how to apply for it, because I had no idea. I had just heard about it.
This is, you know, what's so cool about this, and I hear, you know, being in a financial industry, you hear about this a lot, that with entrepreneurs, they have such a passion for their product and service and the industry that they're in, but it's hard to make the transition into the finance part of it or other aspects. Like, you know, Tracy, you had mentioned HR. They have an HR module. Who the heck? If you don't have, you know, you're so focused on building your product, or if you're sourcing your product from other parts of the world and you're excited about that, why would you want to get in the weeds about HR policy? You know what I mean? So I feel like this is the type of program that really equips the entrepreneur to even recognize that this is some of the things that you should be thinking about. And if you don't want to take ownership of these particular disciplines, then you find somebody or hire someone to do that for you, right?
And that goes into what Tracy was saying with working on your business and not in your business.
Yes.
And, you know, me in my 3 years, I've been working in my business.
Right.
You know, and then you're like, oh my God, I have no time to do all this other stuff. Like learning how to delegate, that was a big one for me.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, I have to trust someone else.
Yes.
To do
with
what
your
I do.
business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But, you know, you just have to implement some strategies and how to train, what to know about, you know, the process and operations, huge for me. Because I was like, oh, I have to organize. I'm looking at it, I'm like, if I had to train someone, would I be able to train someone with the process that I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, the program was really helpful in that.
Wow. So where did you go to MCC? Is that where you went?
Yes.
Okay.
So for the program, yeah, that's where we met up.
All right. How long ago did you go?
Ooh, when did that program start? It was like
It started
May? No, it ended in May.
It ended in May, started in March.
March.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so no problems. You went up to on campus, and then you did the Zoom stuff and everything too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was super easy for me. Some people were coming from 2-3 hours away.
Oh wow.
So for me, it was a breeze. I mean, Nashua to Manchester.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what type of so all of your classes were in the evening?
No, it was an all-day thing. So
Oh, okay.
here's the
All
fun
right,
part.
we're peeling the onion away. We're peeling the onion away. Okay, like
So,
makes sense. There's a lot of information.
Yeah, the first few days of doing it, a lot of us were super stressed because we're like, wait, it's from 8 a.m. until what?
Yeah.
It was like until 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so some of us are like, oh my God, we're CEOs. How are we going to do this? There's a lot of flexibility,
Okay.
right? Like you could take your business calls if it was an emergency or anything, you could walk out, etc. But it helped us really focus on, again, it's working on the business. By being in this program, you're working on it. By not allowing yourself to have those hours in the program, you're still working in your business.
Right. Right.
You're not, you know, like you got to trust your people to do the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you're already learning what is possible.
Right.
So if you're in this program a couple days for like a whole work day and your team is working on your business and you come back and everything's fine, there's already like a great trust factor there. You're like,
Right.
wow. Or if things don't go very right, you're like, oh, I got to look at my process and be like, how can I set it up so that they can work when I'm not available, when I'm sick, when, I don't know, I have an emergency where I can't be at work. Can the business function on its own?
Yeah.
So that was great to see.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm not an entrepreneur, but I actually kind of have an entrepreneurial spirit. I think in my mind, I've like started like 1,000 businesses, but I even get that when I go to a conference, right? So it's like when you can remove yourself from the day to day, then you can start thinking about like you're not at 3,000 feet anymore, you're at 30,000 feet, and you have like a broader spectrum of, you know, thought process and what can you do strategically to take yourself forward. So that's wonderful. I love that. So what were some of the key takeaways or lessons that you learned from the program that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Definitely do the homework assignments.
Just
I said homework assignments.
sounds like you might have got stressed about that a couple of times, Dina.
I will say, again, because I didn't have a business background, the accounting portion was so much needed. Because even if you do know what you're doing in your finances, it's so good to know. Like for me, it was like the terminology, what to look for, how to read my finances, because I have an accountant. But as I went through this program, I was like, we've never talked about this. Am I in a good place? And I ended up finding out I had to fire my accountant and get a new one.
Wow.
So like that was super helpful,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's really important.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I mean, community. Community was a big one for me.
Nice.
Just being able to talk to each other about challenges.
Yeah.
You know, building the right community around you, other entrepreneurs, the right, you know, friends that can be around you to talk about these. Sometimes friends and family, you can't talk to them about business. It just goes right over their head.
Right.
But to have a community of other entrepreneurs and people who get it, you don't feel alone,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
There are times where you're like, what am I going to do with this challenge? And you mentioned this before, Tracy, again, the 10KSB Connect is where all the entrepreneurs are, that have gone through this program are able to connect and be like, okay, I have this challenge. Like, how have you dealt with it? There's bound to be someone who's gone through it. And they're like, oh, this is what I did. See if it works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I love too about these types of connections or communities is that they're so willing to share their own experiences and, you know, maybe do a little bit of a heavy lifting where you don't have to do that anymore, you know,
Exactly.
just to share their knowledge. So you call it 10KSB?
No, 10KSB. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
That's the cool lingo. I have to say it a couple of times in order to get it. But all right. So let me ask you this. So you went through that in 2023? You went through the program in 2023?
It was this year, yeah.
Okay. All right. And you had said, Tracy, earlier that it was 11 weeks or 12 weeks, depending on which semester you take it or something like that. So going back to you, Tracy, how many business owners does the program accept per semester? Do you know that?
We would like to have about 35.
Okay.
That's our,
nice.
the sweet spot.
Okay.
But we have 20 right now.
Okay.
So we just started another cohort
Nice.
yesterday.
Awesome. And so it sounds like the chamber is a big advocate of the program. So that's how you learned about it, right, Dina? And obviously, we're going to share the contact information in the show notes in terms of how you can apply and things like that. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for Dina for sharing some of the things that you've learned. That's incredible. I just actually have one last question, and this is for both of you. So what would you tell any business owners interested in participating in this program? Anything else other than what we've already talked about?
Just do it.
Yeah, that's
Just
nice.
do
yes.
it.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Yes.
Trust it.
Yep. Yeah, and make sure you get to school or go to
your
the
homework.
classes,
Yeah.
right? Do your homework. Yep.
I mean, what do you have to lose?
Right.
You're going to get out, if you go there and you find out that you know everything, which I doubt, then at least you know you're on the right track.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And you're still going to end up with a big community behind you after the program.
Yes. Yeah.
And on the other spectrum, you're going to learn so much that you're like, you know what? I didn't have to pay. First of all, I didn't have to pay for the program.
Right.
But I learned so much. And here, I wouldn't have opened this second store if it wasn't for Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Because my growth opportunity was to open up a space for inclusive wear and suiting, because I knew that was the next step for me, but I was too scared to take that step. But going through the program, I was able to look at the finances, to look at, what do I need to do for hiring? What will the operations look like? And then I was like, oh, all right, I guess I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. No, that's, Dina, that's incredible. I mean, the credibility that you've, and the confidence, I'm sure, right, that you've gained through this whole entire program is just remarkable. And that you can go back to your accountant or resources that you've outsourced maybe in the past and be calling them out on in terms of are we meeting our goals? And so that's awesome. Good for you. That's wonderful. Okay, I think that might wrap up our show today. So thank you, ladies, so much for coming in. We just really appreciate your time. Tracy, you did it. You did a great job.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, of course.
All right. So as we wrap up everything, we just want to give you an opportunity to share your contact information. So Tracy, we'll let you go first in terms of how do you want people to get in contact with you, and if you want to share that information.
Sure. So by email is probably the best, and it's tgillick, GILLICK @ccnh.edu, or by phone at 603-206-8189.
Great. Awesome. And Dina, what about you?
So if you want to visit our shop, it's called Vieira Luxe, and that's VIEIRALUXE and .com if you want to get on the website.
Nice.
We're located at 100 Main Street, Suite 4, and our phone number, if you want to give me a call, I'm open to it, 781-923-0656.
Excellent. And you had shared a little bit, Dina, before the show started, a little bit about the background on the name that you selected for your shop. Can you just? It's a great little story. Can you share that?
Of course. So I came up with the name because I wanted to represent my mother's side of the family. Our family name is Vieira. That's why there's 2 I's in there, because it's a Portuguese name. And Luxe, if you were to say it in Portuguese, it's luxe, and luxe means light. So dedicating it to my mother and my grandmother, it means the light of Vieira. And so I'm hoping that this is something that they can be proud of.
Oh, I'm sure that they are. Very
Thank you.
nice. I love
Thank
it. Okay. Thank you again, ladies, for coming in. We just really appreciate your time and all the information that you shared today. Very valuable to any small business owner or large business owner that's out there. And for, people who are interested in maybe starting their own business. So thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That wraps up this episode of the Making Money Personal podcast. If you've enjoyed today's show, we would love to hear from you. Email your thoughts about this show or any other ideas at tcupodcast@trianglecu.org. Thank you to all of our subscribers, and if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss out on any new episodes or money tips. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.